Do you read Stephen King? Good news, there's a club for you. The Losers Club. Every Friday, us losers journey through the never-ending wastelands of King's Dominion. We sink our teeth into each of King's novels, dive deep into the lore, and review every adaptation. Even better, we're always having guests over. Thomas Jane, Will Wheaton, Mary Lambert, Mick Garris, the list goes on. So what are you waiting for? Join us as we read on through long days and pleasant nights.
Consequence Podcast Network.
Welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org. Consequence of Sound and the Consequence Podcast Network. Want to thank everybody for checking in. Checking out this episode, especially to you all who subscribe and listen to the interviews that we put out every single week. 3 a week, in fact. A new one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if you're not a subscriber, what are you waiting for? It's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover some new ones. Just know what's happening in the music world. You can find us at all the major spots: iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you like to get your podcasts from. I'm Kyle Meredith, and today my guest, Simple Plan, going to be talking with drummer Chuck Comeau. Now, this interview was recorded actually earlier in the summer while Simple Plan were in the middle of a really big viral moment. You see, there was this thing on TikTok called the I'm Just a Kid Challenge. It went back to their very first single, and folks were recreating pictures that they had taken as a family or just really as their own childhood and recreating those little pictures right here. It was a big moment. So Chuck and I got to talk about, how this whole thing came to light, if the band had anything to do with it, which they didn't at the beginning, but they did very quickly get involved. We'll talk about how the natural nostalgia of the song lent to the whole viral movement, and then what it's like actually. The song was written about nostalgia 20 years ago. How does that resonate today, 20 years, in the rear view? How does it speak to the band right now? We're going to get into all of that, as well as what comes next. They put out a song last November called Where I Belong, and Chuck tells me that the new record is done, and that track, it shows us a little bit of the direction as to what we can expect from when we do hear this next record. They say it's back to their pop-punk roots, which is definitely something very, very exciting. So let's get into this. It's Kyle Meredith with Simple Plan.
Hey, Cal, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to talk to you, man. I'd say congratulations on this year's surprising success, but I know it's like congratulations on 20 years of great success for you all and 20 years plus. But
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Rolling into this, one of your songs has done the thing that I think every artist hopes for these days, and it's sort of taken on a life of its own virally through TikTok. You guys have had Just a Kid with the Just a Kid Challenge. How did this get started? Did you all have anything to do with it, or was this completely separate?
Dude, I would love to take credit for this thing because it would make us look like we're the smartest, band in the world. But we had absolutely nothing to do with it. This happened completely organically. I have no idea who started the first video, but it has exploded into this viral sensation, I guess you can call it, where people, I think because of quarantine and because of the whole context that people are stuck in their homes with their siblings, their parents, their friends, their roommates, whatever, and it led them to, I think, having a lot of times on their hands, but also feeling kind of nostalgic to how things used to be. And this thing just took off, and people started to recreate old pictures of themselves or their families and what they look now to our song. And I think we're sitting at almost 4 million videos made, and I think something like 4 billion views of the thing, which is, insane. We've been watching this in our homes. Like, we've literally just been stuck the same way that everybody has, like, in quarantine. And, we started getting texts and phone calls from friends like, hey, do you guys know what's happening on TikTok with you guys? Like, and then there were some other bands calling, like, do you guys know what's happening? We're like, no, we're not on there. What is it? And then we kind of just discovered, like, this thing was catching fire, and then we just kind of sat back and watched. It's been incredible. It's been wild, man. I thought you think you saw it all in the music industry, and then this thing happened, and it's so funny because that's where every single label and every single band is trying to create is a TikTok viral trend, and we had one with an old 20-year-old song. It's been kind of head scratching and incredible.
It's so cool how the exact song that it works out with. I mean, Just a Kid, You all were more or less just a kids when you wrote that, but it was still a song about nostalgia even in the moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of just wrote the song about being young teenagers, like trying to be in a band and, dealing with, all the usual teenage problems and stuff, and that goes on that makes this time of life a bit challenging and not easy for people. And, it was just like a very genuine, heartfelt song, like just like most of our songs. They're always very honest and heartfelt, but this one, for some reason, it's just, there's always been something special when we play that song, probably because it's the first song that we ever came out with. That's the first single we ever released. So there is something about the first song that people hear from you that, for a band, it's always an important song. And it's been a staple of our live shows and a special moment when we play. But now that this happened, I mean, I can't wait to get on a festival stage or something and play it and see how it's going to react, to see if it's going to be even bigger than it used to be. And I have to imagine it will be, So I'm excited to see that.
Do songs like this, when they get out of your hands, when they become something different than what you thought they were going to be, do they change meanings for you? And especially a song about nostalgia that you wrote 20 years ago. I mean, has it changed, what it means to you when you guys play that?
You know what? It's interesting because as a person, as a band, as you get older, obviously you change, but there's a part of you that feels like, no, I'm still that person. Like, I'm still that kid that was trying to make it, and there's so I think that in some ways it kind of retains a lot of what we were trying to say the first time around. But now seeing this and seeing how endearing all these videos have been, it's been so cool to watch. In some ways, it's also people kind of reflecting on the fact that, man, life goes on and it goes on really fast, and like when you take a second to look back, oh wow, all these years have passed, and I'm not a baby anymore. I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a young adult. I have my own kids now, or my kids are grown up. It's kind of I'm not trying to get too deep, but there is something pretty. It's kind of like when you stumble upon an old picture of of when you were a kid or with an old girlfriend or something, and you go oh man, so much has happened, and you don't even realize how quick it goes, right? So I think when we're gonna play it, for me, it has become something new, something that's a bit more timeless than it used to be, and I'm just really grateful that people have embraced the song from so long ago, and it's getting a second life. It's as a songwriter, as an artist, there's nothing you can ask for that's better than that. When a song of yours connects with a whole new generation and a whole bunch of new fans that never heard of us before. So we're just really just happy and grateful, yeah.
I'll quickly ask, I saw you also did a global thing with Summer Paradise, and that's out there. A couple of years ago, you've brought out Where I Belong, which was kind of a new song. I've heard you talk about the new music a little bit. Does Where I Belong kind of give us a roadmap of what we should expect on the record you guys are making?
Yeah, I think that came out last November, and for a tour that we did with State Champs and We the Kings, and it was a way to sort of bridge the gap between our last record and the one that's coming up. We luckily got to finish the album literally just a few weeks before this whole thing went down, and we had to shut down the whole studio and production and everything. So we got our whole new record done. All the new songs are good to go. So now we're just trying to figure out how do we release this in the world with what's happening, and when you can't tour, and what's the best way to do this. But we have great new music, and I think that Where I Belong is a little bit of a sign of things to come. It's definitely high energy and fun, and which is what the band is all about. But the new album is very diverse, and it goes back to our roots, our pop punk kind of more traditional sound that people love about the band. But there's also a bunch of different things on there. So I'm really excited. I think it's one of the, obviously every artist says that as they prepare to release a new record, but we spent a year and a half writing it and making it, and we're really proud. I think it's one of the best records we ever made, and I know our fans have been waiting for it, and we can't wait to give them new music. It's about time. I know things have been tough, so there's always something special about getting new music from a band you love. It kind of helps you out. So we're hoping to be able to put it out as soon as possible, basically.
Well, I can't wait to hear it. Chuck, thank you so much again for the talk today. I'm looking forward to the new record. And congratulations again, man. It's been really fun to kind of relive Just a Kid with everybody else.
Thank you, man. Same here. And we've been excited to to have so many people embrace it. So thanks for having us, and hopefully we'll see you on the show soon when we can play them again.
All right, take care. My thanks to Chuck Comeau's Simple Plan. Again, the TikTok challenge, it's still out there with I'm Just a Kid, and their latest song, Where I Belong, released just last year with a new record at some point in the future. Big thanks to Chuck. Big thanks to you for checking out this episode. Again, before you get out of here, if you're not already a subscriber, I do hope you take that moment to hit that subscribe button. You can find us all the spots, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you like to get your podcasts from. We'll get 3 new interviews to you every single week, a new one on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. After that, head to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres and music news, anniversary spins, and bonus interviews. Again, WFPK.org. Consequence of Sound, they've got your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots at Kyle Meredith. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.
Consequence Podcast Network.
It's easy to hear your favorite artist on WFPK from wherever you are. Listen on your smart speaker, live stream from our website at WFPK.org from Louisville Public Media.